Let me share something that could completely change the way you understand attraction. Because once you hear this, you may realize that a lot of what you have been taught about desire is actually the opposite of how it truly works. You have been told to search for interest in physical touch, in words, in how quickly someone moves closer to you. But what if the strongest desire a man can feel is often revealed in the moments when he chooses not to act? What if the signs you have been watching for are actually the weaker ones, while the signs you have been overlooking are the ones that carry the most meaning? Think about it for a moment. Anyone can touch, anyone can flirt, anyone can say the perfect thing at the perfect time. That requires very little effort and sometimes even less emotional depth. But not everyone can hold themselves back. Not everyone can stay fully present without trying to take something from the moment. Not everyone can sit with desire, feel the intensity of it, and still avoid turning it into something rushed or immediate. And that difference changes everything. Because there is a type of desire that moves quickly, and there is another type of desire that observes carefully. One is controlled by impulse, the other is guided by intention. If you cannot recognize the difference, you may mistake strong emotions for real meaning and end up feeling uncertain, overwhelmed, or confused about where you truly stand. What I am about to explain is not about playing games, pretending, or manipulating someone's feelings. It is about understanding the psychology behind genuine attraction, the kind of attraction that has stability, awareness, control, and direction, the kind that does not demand your attention loudly, but naturally draws your attention through its calmness. The kind that does not leave you feeling pressured, but instead makes you feel respected, understood, and intentionally chosen. If you have ever wondered why some men feel exciting but unpredictable, while others feel peaceful yet deeply attractive, there is a reason behind that difference. Once you understand it, you will stop focusing on signals that create confusion and begin noticing the signs that actually reveal something meaningful. Stay with me, because by the end of this, you will not only understand desire in a different way, you will also be able to recognize when it is genuine. Let us talk about restraint, because this is where many people misunderstand desire completely. We are often taught that wanting someone means acting immediately. It means moving closer, making a move, reducing distance as quickly as possible. But that idea comes from a very limited understanding of attraction. Real desire, the kind that carries depth and purpose, does not always behave that way. It does not rush forward without thought. It does not panic because of a feeling. It does not grab for immediate satisfaction. Instead, it becomes steady. It becomes controlled. When a man's desire is strong, he often becomes more composed, not less. And while that may seem surprising at first, it makes sense when you look deeper. Anything weak reacts instantly. Anything strong has the ability to wait. Hunger reaches quickly. Discipline makes a choice. Desire that is uncertain needs constant confirmation. Desire that is powerful can exist within the tension without needing to destroy it. Here is the psychological truth that many people never hear. Restraint does not mean the absence of desire. It means the ability to manage desire. When a man feels something deeply, he becomes more aware of the importance of the moment. And when something has value, people naturally become more careful with it. You do not rush something you truly respect. You do not treat something meaningful as if it has no importance. You slow down because you do not want to damage something that is still developing. You become more thoughtful because you understand that certain moments cannot be repeated. This is why powerful attraction can often appear as stillness. He does not constantly move for attention. He does not fill every silence with unnecessary words. He does not try to prove himself every second. Instead, he remains calm, focused, and present. Not because he does not care, but because he does. He understands that every action sends a message, and he chooses his actions with awareness. Weak attraction is usually loud. It seeks immediate results. It wants constant reassurance. Strong desire is quieter, but it has more focus. It observes. It listens. It understands timing. It is not only thinking about what happens next, it is also considering what happens after that. And this matters because when a man controls his desire, he reveals something important about how he understands strength. He shows that he does not need to take something in order to feel powerful. He does not need to ignore boundaries to feel wanted. He can experience strong emotions while still remaining grounded. That is emotional maturity. That is self-control. There is a powerful idea that true strength is not simply the ability to act. It is also the ability to decide when action is not necessary. Anyone can follow an impulse. That requires very little awareness, but feeling something strongly and still choosing the right moment requires patience, intention, and respect for both people involved. When someone is present because they are truly interested in you, the feeling is different. There is a sense of ease. The energy does not feel like something is being taken from you. Instead, it feels like someone is meeting you where you are. One creates pressure while the other creates connection. And this is exactly why presence is such a powerful sign of genuine desire. Real presence is difficult to fake for a long period of time. Anyone can pretend to care for a short moment. Anyone can give attention when it is convenient. But very few people can consistently offer deep focus and genuine interest without something real behind it. Eventually, the mind starts questioning what the heart is not truly invested in. This is also why your body often notices someone's presence before your thoughts fully understand it. You may feel calmer, more comfortable, more open, and more secure. You do not feel like you are constantly searching for answers or trying to decode someone's behavior. Instead, clarity comes naturally through the way they show up. In a world where people are constantly distracted, true presence has become a form of intimacy. It communicates a simple but powerful message: I am choosing to be here with you in this moment. And when a man makes that choice again and again without expecting something in return, he is showing something meaningful through his actions. So do not overlook the man who listens more than he speaks, who remembers more than he promises, and who stays mentally present when others become distant. That quiet focus is not a lack of desire. It is desire that has been transformed into attention, care, and awareness. Carry this thought with you. Pay less attention to the people who create a temporary rush and more attention to the people who consistently show up with genuine presence, because the strongest desire does not always demand your attention. Sometimes it gives you its own. Now we move into something many people misunderstand, because from the outside it can look quiet or even simple, but in reality it is one of the strongest signs of meaningful desire. When a man's feelings are deep, he is not focused on constantly receiving validation from you. He is not always searching for reassurance. He is not repeatedly asking himself whether he is wanted or whether he is enough. Instead, he becomes curious. His attention moves toward connection rather than constant confirmation. This difference matters because desire that depends on validation is unstable. It survives only through continuous approval and outside reassurance. It quietly asks questions like, do you like me? Am I important to you? Am I doing enough? That type of desire may appear intense, but underneath it is often controlled by insecurity. And insecurity can make attraction become self-focused because the person is more concerned with calming their own fears than understanding the person in front of them. When a man genuinely desires you, his attention moves outward. He is not constantly worried about how he appears or whether he is impressing you enough. Instead, he becomes interested in discovering who you really are. He asks questions because he wants to understand your thoughts, your experiences, and your perspective, not because he is trying to create a certain image of himself. There is a major difference between someone who wants to understand you and someone who simply wants you to approve of them. Psychologically, this is the difference between ego-based attraction and connection-based attraction. Ego-based attraction focuses on being chosen. Connection-based attraction focuses on choosing to know someone deeply. One comes from anxiety, while the other comes from stability. One seeks constant reassurance, while the other seeks genuine understanding. You can usually feel the difference quickly. When someone is searching for validation, conversations often return back to them. Their stories, their achievements, their opinions, and their need to prove their value become the center of everything. Even compliments can sometimes feel like they are being offered with an expectation attached. But with deeper desire, the focus does not always return to him. He remains interested. He follows the details of your thoughts. He remembers things you shared before and naturally brings them into future conversations because they stayed with him. Memory is one of the most overlooked signs of genuine interest. People remember what they truly value. They forget what they only notice briefly. When a man remembers small details about you, not as a performance, but because they naturally remained important to him, it reveals something meaningful. It shows that your inner world is not just being noticed, it is being held in his awareness. And paying attention at that level requires care. This is also why respect for boundaries reveals so much. A man who deeply desires you does not see your boundaries as problems to overcome. He sees them as information about you. He notices when you hesitate, when you need more time, and when you require space. Instead of pushing forward, he adjusts. And that adjustment does not mean his desire is weak. It means his desire includes respect. It means he values the person behind the attraction, not only the feeling he experiences. There is a deeper idea that real connection begins when someone is willing to allow another person to be who they truly are, instead of trying to force them into a role that satisfies their own needs. When a man strongly desires you, he does not immediately try to change you into someone who fits his expectations. He allows you to exist fully as yourself, even if that means accepting the possibility that you may not choose him. That is where emotional courage appears. Seeking validation feels safer because you only move forward when you feel guaranteed approval. But seeking a real connection requires the ability to handle uncertainty. It requires understanding that desire does not create ownership. This is why a man with genuine desire can often appear surprisingly calm. He is not trying to control every outcome. He is not negotiating for attention. He is not forcing a result. He remains curious, open, and present, even though being open means allowing himself to be vulnerable. And vulnerability, when it is chosen freely, is not weakness. It is a sign of confidence and emotional strength. There is also a long-term mindset hidden within this kind of desire. Validation-based attraction looks for immediate rewards. Connection-based attraction thinks about what can grow over time. It asks, is this something meaningful that I want to build? Instead of only asking, what can I receive right now? That mindset changes behavior. It slows the process down. It creates deeper conversations. It values the relationship itself instead of rushing toward a quick result. This is why a man who truly desires you may sometimes choose respect over immediate satisfaction. He may hold back certain actions. He may wait for the right moment. He may choose honesty even when dishonesty would benefit him temporarily. Those choices reveal that he values more than the feeling of attraction. He values the quality and honesty of the connection itself. With this kind of desire, you do not feel controlled. You do not feel convinced or pushed. You do not feel like someone is following a hidden script. Instead, you feel like you are being met as a real person. And being met in that way is powerful because it allows you to be authentic instead of defensive. There is something deeply freeing about not being treated as a source of someone else's confidence. When a man does not need you to constantly prove his worth, you are free to simply be yourself, rather than becoming responsible for protecting his emotions. That freedom creates attraction because it gives the connection room to breathe. This is the paradox many people fail to notice. The less someone depends on you for validation, the more space there is for genuine desire to develop. Real desire grows through mutual choice, not through pressure, fear, or the need for constant approval. So when you are trying to understand what a man's behavior truly means, stop focusing only on how much he seeks reassurance. Pay attention to how much he seeks understanding. Notice whether he listens to learn or only listens to answer. Notice whether he respects your boundaries even when ignoring them would be easier. Notice whether he can handle uncertainty without trying to manipulate the outcome, because strong desire does not cling. It does not demand endless proof. It does not rush to secure itself. It communicates through actions. I want to know you, not just be wanted by you. And that is the type of desire worth recognizing, because anyone can seek validation. But someone who is grounded enough to seek genuine connection has the ability to create something meaningful and lasting. When a man gives you his complete attention, what he is truly communicating is that in this moment, you matter more to him than all the distractions around him. His focus is saying something without words. It is saying, right now, you have my attention, my energy, and my interest. This is not something that happens by accident. It is a decision. A person can be physically close to someone and still be mentally far away. Many people sit across from each other while their minds are somewhere else. Their eyes move around, their phones compete for their attention, and their thoughts are already preparing the next thing they want to say. But when a man feels a strong desire and genuine interest, that scattered energy begins to disappear. His attention becomes focused. His mind becomes calmer. He is no longer searching for something else to capture his interest. He is not trying to impress everyone around him. He is not dividing himself between different things. He is simply there with you. That feeling of someone truly being with you carries a special kind of power, because attention is one of the strongest ways people show value. We naturally give our attention to things and people that matter to us. We protect our time and focus when something has importance in our lives. That is why a man who gives you steady, peaceful, and uninterrupted attention is showing you his priorities through his actions. He does not need to make dramatic statements or constantly explain his feelings. His behavior already reveals what he considers meaningful. This kind of presence creates a completely different emotional atmosphere between two people. Conversations feel slower and more natural. There is no pressure to fill every quiet moment. Silence does not feel uncomfortable because there is a sense of connection underneath it. You do not feel like you have to constantly entertain him, prove yourself, or fight for his interest. Instead, you feel heard. You feel noticed. You feel like your thoughts and emotions have a place in the conversation. Being truly listened to is one of the deepest forms of emotional closeness, because it shows that your inner world matters. When someone pays attention to your words, your feelings, and even the small details you share, it creates a sense of safety. On a psychological level, this can have a powerful effect. When a person feels fully heard, their body begins to relax. Their guard lowers. They become more comfortable showing their real personality instead of only presenting the version they think someone else wants to see. That is why deep conversations often happen naturally when someone feels genuine attention. You start sharing more honestly. You reveal thoughts you normally keep hidden. You talk about experiences, dreams, fears, and memories without feeling forced. This kind of openness does not usually come from simple attraction alone. Surface-level interest is often satisfied with appearances and basic information. Strong desire wants to understand what exists beneath the surface. A man who is deeply interested does not only want to know what you do, he wants to understand why you think the way you do. He becomes curious about your experiences, your values, your perspective, and the things that shaped you into the person you are today. The more he understands you, the more real and unique you become in his mind. Strong desire is connected to reality because it grows when someone sees the complete person, not just an image. This is also why true attention feels different from simple charm. Charm can be attractive, but sometimes it feels like a performance. Someone can say the right words, act confident, and create a good impression, but something about it may still feel distant. Real presence feels different because it feels natural. It feels steady. You do not feel like someone is trying to win you over with a carefully planned personality. Instead, you feel like you are having a genuine meeting between two people. Being impressed is temporary, but being understood creates a deeper impact. When someone makes you feel seen, that feeling stays with you because it reaches something more personal. There is a difference between someone noticing your appearance and someone noticing your thoughts, your emotions, and your way of seeing life. The second one creates a stronger connection because it recognizes who you are rather than only what you represent. There is a deeper idea behind truly seeing another person. To really see someone requires patience and respect. It means allowing another person to exist as they are instead of quickly placing them into a category or deciding who they should be. Many people interact with others based on assumptions. They listen only to confirm what they already believe. But genuine attention works differently. It allows curiosity to lead. When a man strongly desires you, he does not need to create a fantasy version of you. He becomes interested in discovering the real person in front of him. He watches, listens, and learns. He gives you space to reveal yourself naturally instead of forcing you into an expectation he created. That ability to observe instead of control shows emotional maturity. True presence is not about taking over the entire interaction. It is not about being the loudest person in the room or constantly directing the conversation. Real presence is about creating room for connection. It is about holding space for another person's thoughts and feelings. A man who is genuinely present is not trying to dominate every moment. He allows the conversation to move naturally and gives both people the chance to participate equally. When someone creates that kind of balance, trust begins to grow. Trust is not created only through intense emotions or powerful words. It develops through repeated experiences where someone proves that their attention and care are consistent. When a person repeatedly shows that they are mentally and emotionally present whenever they are with you, your mind begins to feel more secure in the connection. You stop constantly searching for signs that they might disappear. You stop wondering whether their interest is temporary. Their actions create a sense of stability. This is one reason presence often appears before commitment. Before someone promises something with words, they often show their level of investment through their behavior. They become emotionally available before they become verbally committed. And when you learn to recognize this kind of attention, you understand that actions often communicate more clearly than large declarations. A person can say many beautiful things, but consistent presence reveals what they truly value. Words can be repeated easily, but giving someone your genuine attention requires effort, choice, and intention.